Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. I'm John Carter.
And I'm Paulina Otterstein. Today we're going to show you some cultural hotspots of Warsaw.
Right behind us we have Plac Zbawix, and we're going to find out why this is such a significant cultural hotspot of Warsaw.
Come and join us. So Arthur, we are at a square called Three Crosses Square. And why is it called this?
Paula, there are many people in Warsaw who ask exactly the same question. So like everyone knows that it's the Three Crosses Square, but actually which three crosses do we mean when we name the square for the Three Crosses Square? So there are two columns in the middle of the square constructed in 1725, which were the road of representing the 14 stations of Jesus Christ to Golgotha, and that was the first station. The last station was in Ujazdowski Palace, just 1 kilometer away from here. And then in 1756 there was one sculpture added in here of Saint John of Nepomuk. And this guy became saint in this very time, in 1700s, and this is when sculptures of Saint John were appearing in Europe. And the history of Saint John is really amazing. So he was a priest in 14th century Czechia, and it was the wife of the king of Czechia who confessed her sins to the John. And he wouldn't tell about it, of course, according to the priest's rules, about the sins of the king's wife to the king himself. And that's why Saint John was imprisoned and then killed. He was thrown down from Saint Karol Bridge in Prague, the capital of Czech Republic. And then Saint John of Nepomuk, he became a patron of Czechia. So then when in early 1700s, officially by Christian Catholic Church, he was claimed to be the saint. Then also we constructed ourselves a sculpture of Saint John in this area. So the third cross appeared in here because he is holding a cross in his hands. So this is how the three crosses appeared in here, and that's why the name of this square became the Three Crosses Square.
What about the modern times, like in the 20th century? Was it also destroyed, like the Savior Square?
So the most popular element of this square was destroyed indeed, the church of Saint Alexander that was constructed in between 1880 up to 1825. First it was designed by Piotr Aigner, a very important Polish architect. Then the building was developed in late 1800s by another famous Polish architect, Dziekoński. And then this beautiful building, this amazing building, was destroyed during World War II and never reconstructed in the same shape. So after World War II, yes, we reconstructed the church in its first, early 1800s, Piotr Aigner shapes. And when we took a closer look at the church, it's round-shaped, so it was supposed to remind of Pantheon in Rome. Whenever we constructed something, we wanted to refer to ancient Greek, or in this case, Roman architecture or history. Of course, it's smaller, but still it's round-shaped, and still it has a very special shape of Pantheon Church in Rome, and we reconstructed it in a very same shape. To answer your question finally, how about modern times? So there are 9 streets that start or end in here. And also that's a part of the royal route. So there's the old town, there's the Royal Łazienki Garden, and we are in the middle of the royal route in here. So this place is unavoidable when it comes to regular tour or just driving around in Warsaw. This is also the place that became popular because of its boutique and a very expensive shop. There was Gucci in here, now there is Ermenegildo Zenia, we have Burberry at the moment, and we have a Ministry of Development right over there. We have Sheraton Hotel, one of first 5-star hotels in the city, and we have Rolex and Omega watch shops on the other side.
Some cafes there as well.
And cafes, and brand new opened Audi shop, motor place. So it became a very classy place with very expensive suppliers. And Warsawians are hanging around in here with a sculpture right next to it. Can you see what we have what's written in here in Polish? Could you read it in Polish?
A Polska winna trwać wiecznie, Wincenty Witos.
Polska powinna trwać wiecznie. Poland should last forever. Wincenty Witos, one of
That
fathers.
was wrote in the 19th, oh no, he lived from the 19th until the 20th
Yes,
century.
yes. So he was born in 1874, died in 1945, and he was one of fathers of Polish independence 1918, among with Marshal Józef Piłsudski, who we talked about already during our episodes.
Plac Zbawiciela, Savior Square, was originally designed by 18th century royal gardener Johann Christian Schuch as part of the Royal Gardens. Located toward the south end of Marszałkowska Street near the Royal Baths Park, the square is named after the Church of the Holiest Savior, which was built in 1901-1927 and stands at the square's southern side. The square is intersected radially by three streets: Marszałkowska, Mokotowska and Nowowiejska. Its center is a roundabout encircled by a ring of buildings containing shops, offices and residences, as well as the church.
Also, I think it's good to mention that we're close to where the government is located on Wiejska Street. Is that correct?
Isn't that amazing that our politicians are working just next block? And in here it's written, Polska winna wać wiecznie, so Poland should last forever. And this is something that I would like never to forget during our conversations, that I appreciate very much. Thank you. We do this so to remind young Polish people that our forefathers were fighting for for our independence and dying in a moment when we didn't have it yet. And the last words of Joseph Bem, Poland, it will be not me who will save you. Right in here in 1809, we constructed a triumph arch devoted to Prince Józef Poniatowski. He was very important general of Napoleon army, and thanks to him we got a little bit of our independence. So devoted Warsawians constructed a triumph entry, an arch in here in 1809. So that's also a bit of our independence. During communist times, one of very young musicians, 20 years old musician, was killed in one of police stations, and then he was buried in Powązki Cemetery, which is pretty far away from here, and this is where the mass took place, in Saint Alexander's church, in this church. So when people were still in here, when people still didn't move from this place, the first people with the coffin already reached Powązki Cemetery. So according to different sources, there were about 300,000 people involved in that moment. In a moment when the number of Warsawians were about 1 million, maybe a little bit more than this, so almost every third Warsawian participated in this March of Freedom, March for our independence. And once again, let me repeat, Poland should last forever, written on Wincenty Witos sculpture, and this is why we do this, and this is where locals are hanging out, spending time, and also people from all around the world are coming in here.
I think it's a good quote to end our conversation. Poland should last forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for watching.
I'm John Carter.
And I'm Paulina Otterstein.
And we'll be back again, same time tomorrow, for another episode of Poland Daily Culture.